So good morning. I think I introduced myself, but for those people who are Zooming from home, welcome to Queen of Angels. I know that you spent a lot of time and effort going through the admissions process, and so I'm thrilled to be able to welcome you officially as members of the QA community. There's a lot that we have prepared today for you to become more familiar with our program. This is kind of like that bridge between when you become, part of the QA community and then what will happen, until the first day of school. So we feel like it's important for you to have a lot interaction with the school to kind of understand where we're going. So the orientation today is put together with those things in mind, common questions that we get from our new families, and so we hope you find it meaningful. We are available, and I'll go over contact information, everything, as we go through the program. But with everything, we start in prayer, so I'll ask you to join me in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together as we begin this most important partnership with our new families. Bless each of our new students as they prepare to enter Queen of Angels. We ask that you use every person, every experience, and every lesson to help shape each into your image, to reflect your spirit, and to fulfill our mission that will enable each to grow into the person that God created them to be. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. So there'll be time for question and answer at the end of the presentation. And this presentation will also be sent via email as a PDF with active links, so you'll have access to everything that I'm going to show you. So, the QA Family Portal. You might have already been there. You might have already explored it. This is where all of our information is. And I want to clarify something. 3 years ago when we purchased this student information system, it was called RenWeb. FACS, Student Information System, has purchased RenWeb, but there is often confusion because the RenWeb name has not been removed from all of FACS. So FACS, SIS, and RenWeb are one and the same. We call it the QA Family Portal because it enables you to log in. All of this is password protected, and get specific information about the school. So on the Family Portal, everything from the Student Family Handbook, accessing your children's grades, the Weekly Herald, information from our teachers, the lunch menu, the calendar, this is all available. I'm going to go ahead and open the link. And when you open the link, it'll ask you to log on. You get the log on information. You'll log on as a parent. And then this is what you'll see. And again, you might have already been there. And so if this is repetitive, redundant, I'll just ask you to bear with me. Anything related to the school will be found on this. And I specifically want to ask you to look on the left side. Under school, about 5 down, you'll see classes. This is going to be important because this is where our school forms are located, and I'm going to go over that in another slide. All of our forms are electronic this year, and so you will access writable PDFs at this point, and that's through the QA Family Portal. And there's a slide on this, so be patient as we go through this. You can access all areas of our website through this very link, but primarily this is where your information. Over here there's a phone app that you can download. It doesn't have the functionality that a desktop does, like any phone apps. But you can pull up the lunch, if you're sitting out in carpool, or if you can pull up the lunch menu. You can access different areas, announcements, the Herald. It's $4.99. It's your option whether you use it or not, but it's a great little tool. The school calendar, this is an abbreviated calendar. This is put out around March after everything goes down to the Office of Catholic Schools for approval as an archdiocesan school. And so these are our holidays, the main holidays. For your planning purposes, our teacher in service, the first day of school, the last day of school, anything that's important, they're color-coded, if I can get down there. The purple ones are the ones you particularly want to pay attention. Those little triangles, those are early release dates. We release at 12. There's no EDP on those days. And again, a lot of this information will be in the handbook. The faculty and staff, and I cannot say enough about the faculty and staff at Queen of Angels. There is a high rate of retention among the people here. We don't have, unless faculty and staff are moving, we have 3 retiring this year. 2 of them they have been here since the school was founded in 1999. So we're very blessed to have the continuity. We spoke about faculty during the admissions process, with up to 70, I think it's 77%, 76% have advanced degrees, and they can be found on the school's webpage or through that link. So if you want to see who the 3rd grade teachers are, you go to the intermediate pod, which is 3 to 5. And you can access that link, and it gives a little bit of information about those. This is a very important chart for you because it basically says who does what. And so during the summer months, if you have a question, you'll want to access to this chart or download it somewhere or print it, whatever your preference is. But I wanted to take just a minute to go over. I am the principal, and I have an open door policy. Anything that you can't find information on, please feel free to shoot me an email. A lot of times I'll refer you to somebody on this chart. And then I will be accessible most of the summer. So please, if there's something that you can't find out, and I'll go over summer hours in a minute. Our assistant principal is Danielle Mounterpair. She also oversees all the admissions process. So she serves in many capacities. She is like my right hand. She's currently on maternity leave. For those of you who met her during the admissions process, Lily was born April 30th, and so we're very, very pleased to have our latest guardian here. But she oversees discipline, safety, crisis management. She works with our faculty, schedule changes, standardized testing, a whole host of things that falls under Ms. Montepair's leadership. Our curriculum coordinator, who you'll hear from this morning, is Sue Preisler. She's sitting right back there, and she oversees the actual curriculum for the school. She works with teachers. She does professional development. She oversees the standards for our school, textbook selection, enhancing our academic program. Renee McDaniel is our religion coordinator for those, and we'll talk about how you can get involved. Our spiritual life committee of the HSA is very strong. She oversees any type of liturgical or paraliturgical event, the weekly masses, retreats, service projects, anything related to our students' spiritual development. I mean, we all do that. We all live our faith, but she oversees anything related to our spirituality. Our advancement director is also here this morning, Mrs. Harrison. She does everything from event planning, school events, working with the Home and School Association, the annual fund, I Give Catholic, anything that has to do with funds coming in that are not tuition, as well as overseeing the weekly communication, the Herald, and the website. The business manager, Diana Malinak, is a resource for you. If you have any problems with your fax account, something doesn't make sense, something drafts early, you have something that came up and you need a payment drafted, a week later, Mrs. Malinak is your person to call about anything related to tuition. Our registrar, Terry Kennan, who's back on my left, her main title is registrar, but she fulfills a lot of different responsibilities, or they're not even responsible because she just does them here at Queen of Angels. You might have already spoken with her or emailed her about your records, or she oversees many of the aspects of the admissions process, as well as once you're here. If you have difficulty logging on to the QA Family Portal, she's the administrator of our student information system, the FACS SIS system. So any problems logging on, or you don't understand something, just an email or a phone call to Mrs. Kennan. Any requests for records or transcripts or anything that deals with your students' records, Mrs. Kennan can walk you through that process. That's like half of her job. So yeah, we're grateful. She'll be available after this presentation. If you have any questions for her about anything related to the school, Mrs. Kennan will be here 2 weeks in June, and then she returns around July 15th. And that's important because that's when the forms are due, but we're going to get to those in a minute. My administrative assistant, Mrs. Williams, oversees Virtus training, background checks, attendance, many different, if you need to, use space in the building, like if you're a DAISY leader and you want to be scheduled, your troop wants to be scheduled, if we can, have daisies next year, we hope we can. She would be the person to go to. But I mention her because all parents, and you probably heard this during the admissions process, to be present on campus to volunteer, you must have a background check and you must do the Virtus training. The Virtus training is a national program and adopted by the Archdiocese of Atlanta for safe environment. It is if you're not, are any of you Virtus trained? So it's, okay, so it's a 3-hour, maybe 3.5 hour in-person presentation where you learn about what needs to be present in a safe environment, as well as reporting obligations. Everybody, our faculty, staff, anybody in the Archdiocese who works in a school or anywhere is Virtus trained. And so we have 2 certified instructors here at Queen of Angels and make that training available in August to our new families so that you don't have to go. But you can do it anywhere. If you get on the website, you can get Virtus trained over the summer if you have time. Then we'll run a background check on you. Those are good for 5 years, and then you're free to come in once we can have volunteers in the school. Our receptionist, Sandy Spaeth, is another member of Queen of Angels that have been here since the founding year in 1999. A wealth of information. She can answer any questions. If you call to maybe have your child ride in a different carpool, if you have a question during the day, anything related to the school, she will give you the answer or direct you to the person. That always a smile. We put that on there. She is just a very welcoming person to Queen of Angels. And then our guidance counselor, Brittany Voltner, she's available for all types of programs. She does the Virtus training with the children, Red Ribbon Week, all types of fun activities. And then if there's any transitional issues or concerns about social, emotional development, changes in your family, Mrs. Voltner is available. So this is our team that is here to assist you. And, for the summer hours, we're here from 9 to 3. Mrs. Malinak, Mrs. Harrison, I'm available, our maintenance staff, and then hours for Mrs. Kennan, which you will we can share with you, or you'll call, or somebody will either direct you to me, or Mrs. Kennan will be here. All right, so the school forms, and these will not be available until June 1st. So, you know, if you want to play or look, they won't be on the portal until then. And they're due July 20th. So you have a wide window to complete these. But you'll log into the QA Family Portal. You will you'll go under Classes, where, you know, on the left-hand side, under the School section. And then there'll be a link for school forms. These are writable they're under the Resource tab. So these are writable PDFs. If you have more than one child, you just download them to your computer. You filled out your family information for the top, and then for each child, you will fill in their information. It just saves you from having to retype all of that family information for each child. We think that this will be better. Then you upload them into what we call the homework drop. So your homework will be to fill out these forms and go to this and then upload them under the homework drop link. You might have questions. You know, once you get on here again, Mrs. Kennan can walk you through this process. We feel like it's pretty easy, but, you know, then we do this every day. So it may be confusing. It's the first time we've done it this way, so we'll be looking for feedback. Went the wrong way. Okay, so these are the forms that are needed for a new student. First and foremost, for any student entering Queen of Angels, you need a health form signed by a physician. So our school nurse comes in during the summer and she checks off the new student health form as well as the immunization records. If your child has any specific needs, allergies, anything, have your doctor write it on the form, and Mrs. Eddings will be in touch with you for any specific needs that your child might have. And that goes for medicine. We'll go down, you'll see the medical permit form. Anything that's put in your child's mouth here besides their lunch, including cough drops, needs to go into the clinic. And so you have to have a permission form for us to be able to distribute that to your child. And these are all available on the website or through the link. The student emergency care form is required. It has a lot of information. It's an archdiocesan form that we're required to gather this information. And then the two immunization records, the 3300 and the 3231. And they must be on file before your child can enter the school building on August 11th. So please make sure that we have a copy of that. Mrs. Eddings will go through those. She'll verify them on the GTAP website, and then we'll put them in your file and just have them on record here. And then these are other forms that you will need to download. So the family handbook, we are making just updates, modifications where, you know, it's pretty intact. You can go onto the website, the QA Family Portal, and download what's currently there. If you want to see, I have some updates to make to it for this school year. It's just clarity when parents send me an email. Well, I didn't really understand that, and so we clarify it. That will not be available probably until later June because I have to submit it to the Office of Catholic Schools for approval, and then we upload it. So that won't be available June 1st. But you sign off that you agree to follow all the policies and procedures in the Archdiocese. For Queen of Angels. And then the media release form. I think if you've been on social media on Facebook or Instagram, we have a pretty solid presence in the social media world. And if you do not want your child photographed, if you do not want them on social media, if you don't want them in any school publications, in our annual report or our annual fund material, our strategic planning pamphlet, then you just sign the media release, and we will not take your child's picture, and they will not be. Now, for children that we use, we never write names. I don't even think we use first names. We just say the second grade class or the 8th grade class. So there's no way to identify students at Queen of Angels, but there are some parents that prefer not to have their child on social media. If you're one of those parents, we're fine with that. We do a great job in making sure that the teachers know, and that if there is some type of a class project or something going on, that we pull those children or put them on the end so we can crop them out. But that's a parent option. And then the additional forms, we have if you're interested in the extended day program, that is a program that starts after carpool, 3:20, 3:30, and goes till 6 p.m. The monthly fee for one child is, I believe, $150. And that's it per month, whether you use it, for an hour every day or whether they stay till 6 o'clock every day. For additional children, there are discounts for that monthly rate. And then for middle school students, we allow middle school, and this presentation is for grades 1 to 8. And so if you have a middle school student and you want them to carry a cell phone to school, we have to have, there's a agreement, and we take their cell phone and we put them in a pocket in the classroom. They do not stay in their lockers. They are not in their book bags. They go in a pocket right behind the teacher's desk. Many of our middle school students participate on the feeder teams over at Blessed Trinity. So our parents need to know that after they leave Queen of Angels at 3:30, where do I pick my child up, or are they safe? And so we let them bring their cell phones to school in the event that they have an after-school activity, or maybe they're going home with someone else, so that you can connect with them. Uniform fittings, and I believe most of our families know, our new families, we have a uniform store here. We call it the Guardian Gear Store because it has a lot of spirit wear as well as our regular school uniforms. It is to my left, that far door, but you access it from the outside as well as through the cafeteria. And for our new families, especially in this pandemic environment, we've set up individual uniform fittings so that you can come in, you can meet our Guardian Gear store manager, as well as we have parents that help you. It's not just a uniform fitting. You might have a lot of questions for the parents. They're both parents who work in there. So it's a great little opportunity for you to meet other members. These are the days that are for our grades 1 to 8. And so if you are not, I'm going to push on the link. You can see their half-hour time frames. And with those who are present here today, we do have a sign-up sheet. If you know you're going to be in town on June 8th and you want to sign up and take that spot, then you can sign up today. And again, this presentation is going to be sent out with the active links, and you can sign up, at your leisure. If you're out of town for this week, we'll make arrangements for you to get into the Guardian Gear store at another time. But I think for our new families, we ask that you use one of these times so we can, it's more of a really help to what's in the uniform. We've included this requirements by grade level. So for K to 4, there's a summer uniform that they wear when the school year starts in August, and then that goes through to the Monday after Halloween. And that's on the comprehensive school calendar. And our dress uniform does not start until that November date. So you can see what's required. 5th grade is a little bit different. I think it's the blouse. And then you go down for 6 to 8, there's summer uniform, and then they go into dress uniform. And they have a PE uniform. The only thing that you don't purchase here are shoes. And they offer socks, but you don't have to. But they're the white crew socks, and tennis shoes are all white. Okay, so summer opportunities to continue learning. This slide is here, but Mrs. Preisler will be talking more about what summer solutions and summer readings and the benefit of that. So I'm going to skip over this for a minute. And then the Weekly Herald. You should be receiving the Weekly Herald. If you're not, we need to let Ms. Harrison know. And we have a high click rate because this is how we can communicate to our parents. Every week, there is information sent out from me, as well as the different constituencies at Queen of Angels. Anything you need to know. Hope was our theme this year. So we have had, hope has carried us through this year. And there's always something. I talked about the CDC guidelines. Did anybody see this last week? So, this is where I put the majority of information, but when there's something special that comes out, I send it through an email. So you don't have to wait weekly. Like when we found out our children did not need to wear masks on the playground this week, I sent that out in the middle of the day because we're all waiting to hear news like that. So that's more of an immediate thing. We also use something called the Parent Alert system, which is a text message or an email to you. So if I really need you, like I'm trying to think of an example. If we had a class that was quarantined, I just text the parents, we need you to be here in the next hour. We're packing up your students. And sure enough, everybody comes. It's just, again, amazing parent partnership this year. So you can read what's going on. Then we have these 3 sections. So our tagline is Encounter Christ, Empower Students, and Engage Community. So we like to feature at least one of the things that we feel is important or kind of highlights what we did during the week. We do a lot in each one of these areas. This was the day of reflection for our 2nd grade, middle school, the final frontiers, their exams, a little bit about that. Engaged community. We're not part of Blessed Trinity, but we're on the same campus. We're a feeder school. About 98% of our students go to Blessed Trinity for high school, and we bring the alumni back each year. And so this year, the class of 2017, the graduating class comes back, and we have yearbooks, we have a video, we have a luncheon. It's a lot of fun. But that was the class of 2017. Things going on at the school. We have a huge play day next Thursday to kind of like celebrate the end of the year. Guardian gear. We highlight staff, fun for our teachers. I'm going to go over school supplies on another slide. These are just a reminder for our parents. And so it's a lot of information. Scan it, look at it, but this is primarily how unless you go to the calendar every day, you can get like a weekly summary of what's going on and what's to come. So our school supplies, this is a fundraising effort for the HSA. We work through a company called EPI. And they've assured us that the boxes that they put together are 40% less than what you can do. I wasn't comfortable with posting that figure, but when you look at the branded supplies that our teachers ask, like I want the box of 48 crayons made by Crayola brand and has the sunshine colors, the Expo marker or whatever, index cards are index cards. But this, when you go to this site, you will see your list. If you don't want to purchase one of these boxes, the prices are very reasonable. If you want to shop for it, you can either download the list, click the list, or we'll have it on our website. And you can go out and purchase these. So if you decide to purchase through EPI or through HSA, the boxes will arrive in late July, and when your students start school, they will be on their desk. So all school supplies will be here in a box on your student's desk the first day of school. So it's convenient. It's not required though. I would say probably 2/3, maybe 75% of our parents use this service to purchase school supplies. There's a flyer over on the table. You'll have to log in. There's a 6-digit code. We ask that you keep that code among QA families. And the deadline to order is the 27th I'm just wondering who. Oh, okay. Okay, the Home and School Association. This is another question. How do we get involved? How can we're hoping that the restriction for parent volunteers on campus is lifted, as soon as possible, and I'll address that at the end of the presentation. There's general information about the HSA that you can find on our website. All of these links, how they help. This is an army of volunteers that serves our school in so many different capacities. We hope you'll get involved. We hope that you'll rise to a leadership position. We have a board. And even throughout this year where they could not be on campus, they've done so much to support the curriculum, to support our teachers, support me, and it's just a wonderful group of moms and dads. This is the board, and I'm just going to open this for a minute because there are email address links that they're willing to take any questions that you have about the HSA during the summer months. And the organizational chart is down here so you can see how they operate in conjunction to the school and the administration. Our parents are wonderful. In the year before the pandemic, we always have probably in the high 80s for parent participation in some way. And these are all the ways that volunteers can that you can help. So on a daily basis, cafeteria duty, being in the cafeteria, and even middle school parents will help with these duties. And it's just walking around, monitoring. For the little ones, it's helping open those juice boxes or making sure they have a napkin or they can unzip their lunchbox. We have parent parties. So not parent parties, but the parent party volunteers will come in 3 times a year, Halloween and Christmas and then Mardi Gras. The media center, the book fair, parent socials. Olympic Day is huge. That Playdate Palooza is going to replace our Olympic Day. Because we can't have parent volunteers, there's no way we can conduct anything even close to that this year. But we have another fun day. They serve us in academic enrichment. There's all types of programs from International Week to the iPod, and Mrs. Preisler will talk about how the HSA provides these in-school field trips for our little ones, as well as enhances the iPod and the middle school curriculum. As I said, our spiritual life group is huge. From Catholic Schools Week to Spiritual Angels, there's so many different ways to be involved. It can be for one day. It can be for throughout the year, however much time you have or you want to be involved with the community. Our guardian guides are our group of dads that help with special events. And then hospitality. If you're a working parent, and we always are putting together like treats, or like snack attack for our faculty is next week, where our HSA will bring in snacks during middle school exams for our teachers as well as the younger ones. So lots of ways to be involved, and you'll have more information about that during the summer. Our guardian families, each new family will be assigned a guardian family, and that will be someone that's assigned to you that has a child the same grade level, the same age, maybe you live in the same area, and that family will be available to you to answer any of the questions that you have, about the parents or the community, things that we don't, we have a really strong community here, and we feel like it's important for you to be connected if you aren't already are. Many of our families coming in, no families here, but if you're not, you will have somebody that you can is assigned to your family, just in case you have questions or you feel like you need some information that we did not cover. All right, and so now I'll invite Mrs. Preisler to come forward and just talk to you a little bit about the curriculum in grades 1 through 8.
Well, good morning. I am Sue Preisler, the curriculum coordinator. I am so excited to talk to you this morning, and I'm probably going to talk really, really fast because grades 1 through 8 is a lot of stuff. So if you have any questions, you can contact me at any time. My email address is on the website. I love to talk about curriculum, so bring on the calls, bring on the emails. I am not only an employee here at Queen of Angels, I am also a mom. I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader, and I'm also an aunt. I have a 2nd grade nephew and a 6th grade niece here. So I am personally invested in the quality of education here at Queen of Angels. Just to let you know, Dr. Arthur did mention this, but to reiterate, the Office of Catholic Schools in the Archdiocese of Atlanta sets the curriculum standards for us, for whether they're core classes or specials classes, any additional classes that we have here. All of those requirements are set by the Archdiocese. So whether you're here or you're at St. Jude's or Holy Redeemer, we all have an overarching standard that we have to abide by. We are a National Blue Ribbon school, so our standards are excellent, and I would match them up against any other county school system or other school system that you may ask about. We don't publish our standards, so if you ever have any questions or you want to see specific standards for classes or see what's coming up in the future, I am more than happy to sit down with you and talk about the standards and show you what you want to know. So, the different pods do things a little bit differently, but all of the grades have math, science, social studies, religion, and language arts as the core classes. And then specials, we have PE, music, media center, stream, so on and so forth. Things look a little different, though, for each pod. So I'll start with primary pod. That's our kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade. They basically focus on learning to read with phonics and guided reading programs. Our phonics typically comes through Orton-Gillingham. Many of you might be familiar with Orton-Gillingham as a system for students to learn phonics. If they are coming into the school, we do have kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade in a 3-year building of those phonics skills, but there's a lot of review, so no worries. If they are coming in 1st or 2nd grade, they will get all of the skills that they need. Guided reading with Fontes and Pinnell, wherever your student is and they're reading for kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade. They build their reading skills, reading material that is appropriate for them at their level, challenges them at their level of reading. So, you know, some students come in kindergarten and they can read really well, and some students have not started reading yet, and that's okay. We meet students where they are, and we build them accordingly. In primary pod, science and social studies might not be every day. We do have required minutes for science and social studies, but those might be embedded in language arts, where you might read a story about something that happened in history, or you might look at counting apples, how do apples grow. You know, we might create a chart that shows how many people like red apples, how many people like green apples, and then we do math based on that. So incorporating the science of apples and plants, as well as incorporating that into math. So science and social studies, not every day, but are embedded in just about everything. Each class has one main classroom teacher and one paraprofessional in the classroom. So kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade all have 2 adults in the classroom. The intermediate pod, though, is a little bit different. Intermediate is 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. They have a classroom teacher, but they have one parapro that is shared between the 2 classrooms. So, for example, 3rd grade has 2 homeroom teachers, but only one parapro. Students are more independent at this point, so that is definitely why one of the reasons that we have that system. Students move from learning to read to reading to learn when they get in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We incorporate more technology at this point. Primary pod, we focus on manipulatives. There is some technology, but it's really not the focus of what the students are using to learn. When they get to intermediate pod, this is an intermediate step. Additional technology is introduced with the Chromebooks. They are not using the Chromebooks all the time. They may not even use the Chromebooks every day, but they do have more of a presence in their Google Classroom, in their Google Drive. They start learning skills that will help them as they move toward middle school. With middle school, a lot of the classes have Google Classrooms that the students access multiple times a week. And so technology is more utilized at the middle school level. Going back to intermediate pod, the 2 teachers for each grade level, 1 teacher teaches math, science, and religion, and 1 teacher does social studies, reading, and language arts. So throughout the day, the students will move from teacher to teacher, from one classroom to the other. Now this year we have the teacher moving and the students are staying in their classrooms, but normally the students would move from one classroom to another. Again, giving them a little more independence, a little more responsibility, and also learning to adapt to another teacher's learning styles. The middle school has teachers at in every class is a different teacher. So you'll have a teacher for language arts, you'll have a teacher for math, you'll have a teacher for social studies, science, and so on and so forth. So the teachers stay typically in their classrooms and the students will rotate around. They are all within the pod, so if you are thinking, I have a 1st grader and what if an 8th grader is trying to get to class and they're barreling through with their giant backpack, don't worry. They won't be. The primary pod is at the front of the school, the middle school is at the back of the school, so there isn't that rush of 8th graders running through trying to get to class. They have a block for language arts, so instead of 1 class period, they have 2 back-to-back with the same teacher for language arts. That is language arts and literature, so they would do their literature class, writing, grammar, and all of that within that block. We have a lot of different field trips that we normally do. So in a normal year, in our primary pod, we have in-house field trips. So everything comes to us at this point. We have had the storyteller from Carmen Didi, if you're familiar with her books. We have had that puppet guy come. We have High Touch, High Tech that comes, and their scientists do interactive science experiments with the students. We've also had Chattahoochee Nature Center. You may have seen in one of our recent heralds. The Chattahoochee Nature Center was able to come. We were able to do things outside. We had different standards that were met by the presentations that they did. Some of it was mammals and their adaptations. For our kindergarten and 1st grade, and our 2nd grade had a lesson on the native peoples of Georgia, the Cherokee and the Creek, and their history and their use of nature. We also had animal friends that came and visited us, so that was great. In the intermediate pod, we do have some field trips that go off campus. Normally, we didn't this year, but in the past, we have gone to Telus Science Museum, Zoo Atlanta, Roswell the History Museum. In the 5th grade, they do some history of Roswell. So they were able to get some information and hands-on view of what goes on, what's gone on in our history here, right here in Roswell. Middle school. They have an acting workshop that comes from Shakespeare's Tavern whenever they go through Shakespeare in their classes, and that is always fun. They have gone on trips to see live theater productions, and we also have a BizTown and Finance Park through Junior Achievement, and I'll talk about that in a moment. All grades have specials. Students from the different pods have different amounts of specials, but everybody has PE twice a week. They have computer lab and technology, we have art, we have music, and we have Spanish. And K through 5, there is STREAM and Media Center as well. And STREAM is our STEM lab with religion and arts, fine arts in that. Middle school, unfortunately, you don't have STREAM and Media Center during those times, but you do get bonus. You get more of an opportunity to choose what electives they would want. In 6th grade, students choose between choir and band. In 7th and 8th grade, they have an opportunity to choose many, many different electives. But first, the specials that all students take, academic coaching and junior achievement, BizTown and Finance Park that are taught by Mrs. Preisler, who I hear is amazing. She... or I. The first semester of 7th grade, we do study skills. We talk a lot about preparing for exams, keeping organized, using our agendas, certain study skills that they could use like mind mapping or note-taking or flashcards, things like that, to help them as they progress toward high school. 8th grade fall semester is SSAT prep. SSAT is a test that is required for students that are going into private high schools. And so we help the students remember way back when you learned all these things before. So we do some review for the different areas of the tests and just help them feel comfortable going into it. It feels like a huge step, and many students feel worried about it, but by the end of the semester, students feel a lot more comfortable after we've done some practices and saying, yes, you do know these things. Yes, we did talk about these things. So those are our fall semesters. And in the spring, we do BizTown and Finance Park, which are programs that are through Junior Achievement that talk about personal finance basics, basics of economy, entrepreneurship, skills like filling out job applications, being in part of a job interview, soft skills that you would need, interpersonal skills. Also, with the 8th grade, they include basics of insurance, saving, investing, terms that they will need to be familiar with as they move into becoming drivers and then becoming young adults. So your middle schoolers may come home and say, so what's our deductible on our car insurance? And asking questions about that. Important conversations that families should have. So there are a lot of topics that we encourage the students to ask their families about and see what decisions they're going to have to make in the future. We do put a Catholic perspective on that. We talk about different Bible quotes from the Old Testament and the New Testament. And money is one of the most commonly referred to topics in the Bible. And so we pull some ideas out, we pull quotes and say, what does God want us to do with our money? Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. So what is it that God wants us? How do we avoid becoming greedy? Or how does God want us to share our blessings? And how do we as Catholics, knowing that we need to serve others, how does that look in a financial perspective? So, and we have a lot of topics that we encourage our students to talk about with their families as well. What is our family plan? How do we see finances in our family and in our faith? So that is for the middle school. The middle school electives, though, these are the ones that they can choose. They choose band, choir, coding, robotics, mythology, graphic arts, advanced art, performing arts, video journalism, and the morning show. So there are a lot of choices that the 7th and 8th graders can pick from. They are a lot of fun. The morning show is our Queen of Angels daily newscast. We have our prayer that we start with as a school, K through 8. We do the Pledge of Allegiance and we recite the school promise. And then we get a lot of information like what the weather is going to be like and what the lunch menu is for that day and whose birthday it is and things like that. So that is a great way that we start our day every morning. The last thing I wanted to touch on, professional development. Our teachers do a lot of professional development. Every Wednesday morning, we have a faculty meeting that is professional development or catechetical, which is the religious aspect of it. So school starts on Wednesdays at 8:55. The first bell is 8:55, not 7:55, so that we have that time with our staff. The additional trainings that we've had Fontes and Pinnell guided reading implementation, Orton Gillingham refresher courses for all of our primary pod teachers, Orton Gillingham intermediate training for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers. We have had training in IXL, a program we use for language arts and math. Software monitoring for middle school. We have clear touch panels that are new this year, so we've had a lot of training on using our clear touch panels. I could go on and on and on, and if you really want to know, I will talk to you, I can talk with you after about all of the professional development that we do. Our standards from the Archdiocese, the Office of Catholic Schools, they update on a cycle of every 5 to 6 years. There's usually 1 year that it's a pilot year with the standards, and then any adjustments are made, and then those standards are set for the next 5 to 6 years. That is, the standards are reviewed to make sure that we are teaching what our students in this 2021, what they need to know and what's important for them to learn. The Office of Catholic Schools does not sit on their own making these decisions without looking at anything, at any data or anything. They look at a lot of data, and they also have teacher committees. So our teachers are very involved throughout the Archdiocese in what standards should be taught. Again, if you have any questions about curriculum, I could go on and on, like I said, but I won't, because I know we all have things to do. So if you would ever want to talk about curriculum, give me a call. I love curriculum. Summer Solutions, yes. Summer reading, I have it written right up here. Summer reading and summer solutions. If you have a 1st through 8th grader, you do have summer reading requirements. The summer reading assignments are posted through our QA family portal. There was also a link that Dr. Arthur pointed out. With our younger students, there are suggested books to read. With our older students, there is a list of books, and they choose books from that particular list. Our teachers are always updating these every single year to add new books, take out books that may not be as relevant to students in this particular time. So our teachers highly recommend the books that are suggested, as well as the lists. The assignment is due the first week of school. So please make sure that if you have a student who is going into 4th grade, that they are clicking on the assignment for the rising 4th grade students, okay? If you have a student who's going into 2nd grade, the rising 2nd grade students. So please make sure that that is the rising grade. Summer Solutions, these are workbooks that we recommend in grammar and math. Those are the areas that we see a lot of slide in because they are skills that need to be practiced to make sure they stay in the forefront of the students' brains. We do not collect those. They are not for a grade, but they are highly recommended. So you have any long road trips coming up, or you have swim team in the mornings, and one kid can work on their summer solutions while the other one is swimming and back and forth. It's a great way to have a routine to your day in the summer. They're, again, not graded, but they are highly recommended. There are links to all of those, and those are listed as, if your student is now currently in grade 3, you would get the grade 3 books. Different than our summer reading, I know. So grade 3 books for Summer Solutions, if your student is currently 2020, 2021 school year 3rd grader, would get 3rd grade books. The reason for that is that they're going over 3rd grade skills. Those are the things that we want the students to remember. As a new parent, I accidentally ordered, back in 2014, I accidentally ordered the grade above, and I found that I was having to teach my children the skills, and that's not what we're after. We're after reinforcing the skills that they have already learned, because they will be learning a lot of new skills in the next school year. So the current school year that they're in, that is the grade level that you get for Summer Solutions. For summer reading, it is the rising 4th grade. So if you're a 3rd grader, rising 4th grade reading list, grade 3 Summer Solutions. Does that make sense? Okay, is that it?
It's always so great as a principal to sit back and to listen to this comprehensive program, all the details. I mean, you witness it, you see it, but it's really from the middle school electives all the way down to the academic enrichment and the way we start them in their journey in that strong literacy piece in math and integrating the science and social studies. It's and I can hardly wait for you all to experience that. So in closing, we have a yard sign for you to share that you are now one of our newest guardians. So thank you. We also have magnets over on the table that feature our tagline of Encounter Christ, Empower Students, and Engage Community. The sign-up sheet is over on the table for uniforms, and then we have the just information about the school supplies. So before you go, I mean, this is our 4th orientation that we've done, so a lot of questions come up. So I thought I'd just basically go over some of the questions that have been asked. One was about summer hours. We're here from 9 to 3 all summer, except for that July 4th holiday. Somebody will be here to answer the phone and to be able to put you in touch or tell you when that person will be back. I have a summer newsletter that comes out mid-July. At that time, we also share with you class lists. That may be closer to the end of July this year, because Mrs. Montepere helps me to go over those final lists, especially as we transition our new students into the different class lists. So we're working on those now, but then we want to make sure that we have, we go through every one of your admissions files and make sure that all of your strengths of your children and their personalities will, excuse me, be in the right class. So there's a lot of work that's done. We don't take requests for teachers just because there's so many things that are done to compose those class lists. The pandemic. I think that is the most prominent question that I get throughout this school year. And as we approach 21-22, I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. So, I cannot tell you with 100% of assurance what next year will look like. I will tell you, over the last just like 3 weeks, we have a task force for the Archdiocese that with 2 pediatricians from CHOA that serve on it in conjunction with the CDC and the Fulton County Board of Health that we work with for guidelines, protocols, policies. So at this time, in the last 3 weeks, we've been able to free up our playground without cleaning and sanitizing it after each use. We've been able to share materials. We have all of our PE equipment, balls, anything that was restricted up to about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that is now in place. And just this last week, during this week, I received an email from the Office of Catholic Schools that students no longer needed to wear masks outside during PE classes if there was, that arm's length. So when they line up, they put their mask on, and that's primarily for contact tracing. If we would have, the cases are down, way down, and so we have to comply with those guidelines. We also have reporting as a school. We send in weekly reports about positive cases or people that are quarantined, children who are quarantined here at school. That's required both by the Archdiocese and Fulton County Board of Health. So it's one of those things that it really is out of my hands. I hope to have those guidelines. I will have them by mid-July, but that's, usually the summer letter goes out anyway, mid-July, giving you details about the first day of school, parent orientation nights, so you can get them on their calendar. We hope to have a block party next year, which is our first, welcome back and a huge event for our parents. We won't know about those until, and that, I think that's the difficult thing about this year is just the uncertainty. But I do see, you probably in your own environment see it getting better. But right now I don't have anything confirmed as to what the school year will look like, but we do hope to be using our entire facility. Currently the children are in cohorts, like Mrs. Preisler said. The teachers go to them. They don't go to the art room but I think that's pretty common practice. As difficult as all those restrictions have been, I think more so for our parents and our teachers, our children have adapted. I visited the 8th grade class today on their last day of exams and just told them how proud I was of them. You talk about resiliency. With all that they have had to do during their 8th grade year, they gave up their kindergarten buddies. They, the privileges we gave them, we let them eat outside. Just privileges that, that they've had in years past. Many things. The 3-day retreat up at Cove Crest, and not being able to go up there. So. Very proud of them for the resiliency and the positivity of this class as they've negotiated everything, and they're getting ready to pass the light tomorrow at our Lux Regina ceremony and then graduate on Monday. So I will tell you that, based on what I receive, if I'm given any flexibility, I'm committed to the least restrictive environment that we can have here at Queen of Angels, but I am governed by those guidelines from the CDC, the Fulton County Board of Health, as well as recommendations or policies from the Archdiocesan Task Force. I've been asked about vaccinations. At present, you all know that we're under emergency approval of the vaccine, so it can't be required. Once it is approved for use on a regular basis, I don't know what the state will do that, whether it'll be added to the 3300 form, 3231, or if it'll be like the flu shot. I don't know. I mean, I've got my own opinions, but again, I have to follow the guidelines from, especially if it's the state of Georgia, but we'll see. So those are two of the questions related to the pandemic that I've been asked. You'll find I'm pretty transparent. I like to communicate. I know what our parents need to hear, or I know what they want to hear, because I'll get a few phone calls, and usually I just send it out. Anything related to the pandemic, I've been pretty quick in sharing with our parents, not just in the Herald, but also in special communications that go out. So if during June I hear something that's positive or something that I think our parents need to hear about the opening of school for next year, I'll send it out to you in a special communication. I won't wait until July, because we all want this news. We're all tired of this. So I will open it up for any kind of questions or anything that wasn't covered or something you're curious about, and then I'll also be available after I turn the microphone off. Any questions, things we did not cover, or? All right, so you'll be hearing from your guardian family sometime in July. You will get my summer newsletter talking about how we're opening schools. You'll get your class list sometime end of July. And the only reason I don't have concrete dates, I think that there's still a lot of moving pieces for next year. So say we did have to be in cohorts, then the twins all have to go in one homeroom. Right now we're not planning for that, but then we'd have to make adjustments in the class list. So there's all these little factors that in trying to open up for the new year that we're dependent on having some information before we can actually send out that information to our parents. So if you have any questions, I'm available. I'm jarthur@qaschool.org, or use that information chart, because there's a whole host of information, and I think that's a real valuable piece of a tool. All right, well then I will close. I will turn off the microphone. We will say goodbye to our families that are on Zoom. Thank you for being with us. Welcome to Queen of Angels. If you're not here and you'd like to pick up a yard sign or a magnet or drop anything off, we have Mrs. Spaeth at the front desk, Mrs. Kennan. You will find that Mrs. Kennan, she will be your best friend. You don't even know how much you'll need her until you start going through some of the things, and she's available to you, as well as the rest of the members of our staff. So thank you for being here. An official welcome to Queen of Angels. We're so pleased that you have entrusted your children to us. They are in great hands, and I look forward to having you on campus in August. Thank you.